Why is it's 2023 and Americans still don't have paid sick leave? If COVID-19 taught us anything, it was the importance of health, wellness, and paid time off. We watched the pandemic unfold, but there was no policy change that encouraged wellness after an experience like that. The only policy that was pushed was the vaccination, not paid sick time or mental health or exercise. Oh, we did get one day for June 19th as a holiday. But where was the overhaul to improve Americans' health and wellness with paid sick leave? American policymakers are doing everything to avoid giving Americans paid sick leave. And while the CDC, the WHO, ABC, XYZ are mandating vaccines, why not such vigor when it comes to paid sick time off? The U.S. is the only wealthy nation in the world that does not guarantee workers paid time off when they are sick. Instead, we have some sort of patchwork of state and local paid sick leave laws that have big gaps in coverage for workers. If the country passes a national sick leave policy to make existing state-by-state protections more universal, the hope is that workers will get necessary protections for their health. Before I get into paid sick leave and why Americans don't have it, let me introduce myself. This is the Legal Code, and on this channel we discuss a wide range of legal topics, whether it relates to your small business, estate planning, as well as policy changes or policies that are coming down the pike or policies you should be aware of. We discuss it here. So if you like that sort of thing and you appreciate that kind of content, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with anyone else you think will find value. Also, I also have some appointments, so if you have some questions regarding estate planning or your small business, you can schedule an appointment with me to get one-on-one consultation about any legal concerns that you have. I am a real-life attorney. I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of clients. So what we do is walk through a strategy, we troubleshoot, and we come up with a solution. So the link to schedule an appointment with me is in the description box. Also, you've seen in my previous videos that I am facilitating a wellness trip, a medical tourism trip to Colombia, to Barranquilla, Colombia. So if you're one of the 40 million Americans that either don't have health insurance, have inadequate health insurance, and you're suffering from a chronic disease, or you're unable to see a doctor because of the cost, then I implore you to take the plunge and come to Colombia, where you can get robust and affordable health care at a fraction of what it would cost you if you were to receive these services in the United States. Sometimes 70–80% less than the same service in the US. And to boot, Colombia is ranked higher than both the United States and Canada. So if you're concerned about the innovation and whether or not Colombia's healthcare is advanced compared to the United States or other Western industrialized nations, well, Colombia outranks the United States and Colombia, coming in at number 22. It's well regarded, well respected in the international medical community as a hub, as a haven, as a place where not only Americans travel to, but Europeans also travel to, because the affordability and the innovation and advancement in the healthcare industry. It is a medical tourist gem, if you know about it. So we have the date scheduled for July 25th to August 4th, 2023, and it's a 2-week stint, because that gives you enough time to see the physicians or the dentist, get diagnostics, do what you have to do, whatever procedure or medical information that you need. That gives you enough time, I believe, to get the information and services you need. 1 week is too short for any sort of medical attention, so I wanted it to be as all-encompassing and no pressure and anxiety about, oh, I have to catch my flight in a week and I need to squeeze everything in these 6–7 days. So that's why it's 2 weeks. Also built into the trip are also sightseeing, cultural tours, opportunities to learn about the Colombian culture. So it's not just a medical wellness trip, but it's also to explore the culture of Colombia, which has a rich, vibrant, beautiful culture. Also, you'll be staying in a 4- or 5-star hotel. You'll be comfortable. If you're somebody who suffers with a disability, The trip will be planned out that it's ADA compliant, so you won't have mobility issues. So if that's a concern for you, if you have a chronic disease that affects your mobility, don't worry. That will all be arranged for you so that you can be comfortable and travel without any issues getting around. Also, I have another channel called Access Wellness Abroad, where we discuss the different policies other countries are doing, other Western as well as developing countries are doing to improve the quality of life, to improve their workforce, the space for us to explore these policies and perhaps say, let's compare to what the United States is doing to improve the workforce, to improve the quality of life. As you know, it's a short list as to what America does to improve the quality of life for its constituents. It's up to you because of the individualistic ideology that America promotes, but other countries have deployed whatever resources they have, information, research to improve the quality of life for their workforce and make sure that people are a vital part of the economy growing. So if you're interested in those sorts of things, all the links regarding that will be in the description box. So that's housekeeping. Let's discuss paid sick leave and why America is the only Western wealthy nation to be without it. Okay, so it's no surprise when it comes to paid sick time, maternal leave, vacation time, America is horrible. In fact, 21% of America's working population don't even have access to paid sick leave. And this is 3 years after the initial COVID-19 outbreak. Paid sick leave at its core has a significant positive impact on public health, allowing people paid time off to attend to short-term medical needs for themselves. Paid sick leave also slows the spread of infectious disease and promotes preventative care, such as routine screenings. Shockingly, the U.S. is the only high-income countries in the world without any form of national paid leave. The need for paid sick leave for Americans is stronger than ever, especially as government leaders and various pandemic-era public benefits that helped families during the pandemic are coming to an end. The end of these benefits and the current inflated economy puts many workers without paid sick leave in a bind, and many workers simply can't afford to stay home when sick, especially when doing so could cost them their job. There is no national policy protecting American workers. Dozens of states, cities do have paid sick leave laws, and some private companies offer it, but many do not. Many offer it at their own discretion because there's no mandate by the federal government. So it's really up to the company, and so guess what the company leaders decide not to do? Not provide paid sick leave. For example, in Texas, paid sick leave laws remain a worker's fantasy. In 2018, Austin enacted a paid sick leave policy, followed by Dallas and San Antonio. However, through legal battles, these laws were struck down, and as a result, workers in these three cities still lack the legal right to paid sick leave, despite the will of the community and elected officials. So voting is not always the answer. So those with lower paying jobs, such as service workers, workers in production, construction, maintenance, and transportation workers, and as well as part-time workers, are less likely to have paid sick leave, despite what state one lives in. Also, we spoke about maternity leave previously in a previous video. I'll link it. Look at this chart to see where the U.S. stands on paid maternity leave compared with other countries in the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation Development, a group of highly developed economies. The U.S. is the only one that doesn't mandate paid maternity leave. Likewise, in the U.S. is one of the only OECD countries that have no leave policies in place for fathers. And it's not just parental leave, of course. When it comes to vacation, the U.S. is also unique. It's not at all new to point this out, but data like this pose a question. How did it get this way? Why is the U.S. so different from the rest of the world in not giving workers paid days off? You can write an entire book about this complicated forces at play here, but there's a few factors. One, the aftermath of World War II, business lobbying, a diminished American labor movement, and the American love of bootstrap pulling of all combined to keep the U.S. alone in not giving its workers paid leave. It's not just that America's attitudes differ from the rest of the world. The gap in parental leave in particular has its roots in the aftermath of the World Wars. The European social democracies that emerged after World War II all wanted paid leave policies. Some already had them, in part because of their concern about replenishing the population. Europe suffered both massive casualties and massive damage to its infrastructure, and it needed to get more people in the workplace to rebuild. That meant helping women get into the workforce and providing policies that encourage women to be working mothers. Meanwhile, the US lost less casualties and did not experience the devastation that Europe experienced. And so when the US troops came home, it was just business as usual and simply meant less of a need for women in the workplace. The US women that replaced men when they went to war simply went back to their domestic roles. There was less encouragement and significance in women being part of the workforce. Women workers were seen as disposable and not vital to the economy. Even while the war was going on, you had women in jobs and factories and all kinds of work that men held, but women went home when the soldiers returned from the war. And with all those women returning to the homes, there was less of a reason to create policies that help women stay in the workforce. So I want you to envision that women who held the economy together during this time, as well as were caretakers for their family, all of that effort and sacrifice was ignored. And instead of saying thank you to women, how can we keep you in the workforce if you desire to be a working mother when your husband returns home? There was nothing. Do you see why the feminist agenda was so fervent? One other force opposing paid leave is the business community. Trade groups like the National Federation of Independent Business and the Chambers of Commerce at the state and national levels have repeatedly opposed paid leave policies. In 2007, one of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce officials said that his organization would wage an all-out war against paid leave. Only 12% of private sector workers have access to paid leave. But those in the business community say that they're opposed to the government telling businesses how to institute these policies. Paid leave is expensive, they say, and they argue that businesses should be able to figure it out on their own. Opponents of paid leave even say that the government's one-size-fits-all approach tries to bring all of the unique workforces and workplaces under one-size-fits-all model, and that doesn't work. It limits the workplace flexibility and company innovation. Now, please explain how mandatory paid leave limits flexibility and innovation. How does this happen? Wouldn't giving employees flexibility encourage flexibility and better dynamics? And we all know this isn't about flexibility, it's about control of the working people, because the 9-to-5 model that was modeled after the Industrial Revolution and factory work is the most static aspect of the work culture and hasn't changed in 100 years. And these companies have no problem with that, because those dynamics serve them to treat everyone like machines. So they say they want flexibility when in fact they probably want control. The truth is, money also plays into the politics at play in a way that it dwarfs what's happening in other countries in terms of campaign contributions in the United States. Corporate contributions play a very large role in elections and what policies get passed. Essentially, if a corporation is aligned with the change, then it'll get passed. If not, say goodbye. Any policy that benefits the people to the detriment of the corporation won't get passed. With paid leave a top issue for candidates, it's important to the workforce. They will use this to campaign and gain American votes. But once elected, they know there's nothing they can do. They answer to the corporations, not to the people. So that's it on paid sick leave and how America has a dismal past, present, and probably future as it relates to paid sick leave. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section about paid sick leave. Did you expect an overhaul in terms of government involvement and encouraging more corporations to institute paid leave after the pandemic? That was something that I thought, with all of that marketing of wellness and health, I thought that the ball will keep rolling, in the sense that more companies will be aware of the importance of health. But alas, capitalism decides that money is more important than the health of the workforce. So let me know in the comment section. I'll see you next time. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.